but also never lose sight of the fact that his insane executive action on nursing homes, that directive, that led to the deaths of countless New Yorkers when during the height of the COVID-19 tragedy about a year ago, when New York needed leadership, Cuomo panicked like the weak, frankly, pathetic politician that he is, lashed out at everybody and took great accolades from everyone whenever he could. And then instead of being honest, when they found out in June that the late March executive order was failing and we had 9,000 deaths, when he could have made a course correction, they decided to cover up exactly what they had been doing. And sadly, Cuomo now embodies everything Americans hate about politicians: corrupt, dishonest, hypocritical, entitled. You put whatever adjectives you like. Here with reaction, Fox News contributor Lisa Booth, New York Congressman Lee Zeldin, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett, and Congressman Matt Gaetz. Good to see you all. All right. Now, Lee Zeldin, you do know that New York has a very interesting twist as it relates to impeachment, because we now have, in terms of numbers, there would be enough members of the Assembly that have said that he should be out of office that would vote to impeach him. If that were to happen, he would have to step down temporarily while a Senate trial was going on in New York State, different from the impeachment, for example, that we watched with President Trump.
Yeah, that's right. And that is a key difference. So Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul would become the acting governor during that time as soon as there's an Assembly impeachment. As you pointed out, the numbers are there already. And it's been happening all throughout the day today. It was interesting that it requires a fifth or a sixth or a seventh accuser to come forward. When I was getting asked about resignation, I was thinking of the nursing home directive and the cover-up, and I thought thousands of dead New York seniors and then the cover-up and then the bullying, that would be enough to get the governor to resign. I watched the governor's press conference earlier today. I listened to it. It was a train wreck. He was essentially going after the accusers as being liars. And if you believe the victims as liars, and if you believe the victims, then he'll go after you too. So he's doubling down, tripling down on the same character flaws that got himself into this trouble in the first place. I agree with you. This is the end of Governor Cuomo's political career. I don't think it's months. I think it's days or weeks at this point.
Two fascinating things, Congressman Gaetz, in this case to me. They might claim, oh, guys like Hannity. Republicans in New York State, Democrats have a veto-proof majority in the Assembly and in the Senate. Republicans have no power in this state. Fascinating that this is all Democratic Party driven. I think you got a couple of things going on at once. What's your take on the political side of this with Democrats? Now, many of them a little too late for the I Believer caucus. It took them a long time to apply these standards to Cuomo that they were applying to Kavanaugh. What do you make of the Democrats wanting him out here?
The New York Democratic Party seem to be going after each other more than the royal family at this point. It's not good as a New York Democrat when you lose Schumer, when you lose AOC, when you even lose Jerry Nadler, for goodness sake. I'm glad you've been consistent on this show. We don't believe in guilt by accusation, a great book by Professor Alan Dershowitz. And just the volume of accusers alone should not substitute for that needed due process. And you have to wonder, why is this happening now? I think it's because the media no longer needs to protect Governor Cuomo because they no longer need Governor Cuomo. You see, they were trying to smear President Trump, the person who brought us a vaccine twice as fast as had ever happened in the history of the world, and they needed this strong counterpoint against Trump. Well, they couldn't use Joe Biden because he was at nap time in the basement, and so they built Cuomo up like the great oracle of response to the coronavirus, when the reality is, Lisa is exactly right. Killing 15,000 people in the state of New York should be impeachable. That should result in true investigations. And it certainly makes my governor, Ron DeSantis, look a lot more like a leader because he made decisions based on science, not emotion and impulse. The governor of New York should not be Andrew Cuomo. It should be someone on this panel, my good friend Lee Zeldin.
Well, is that an endorsement? Maybe you can move to New York, because I'll tell you another thing. Florida did really well compared to New York. So did Texas, so did Mississippi, and all these other red states, the worst states. Oh, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Michigan. By the way, now Whitmer might be facing charges, and Newsom out in California. Pretty interesting to see the philosophical differences and the impact it had 1 year later. All right, thank you all. Congressman Zeldin, Lisa Booth, Greg Jarrett, Matt Gaetz. Thank you all.
This is Congressman Matt Gaetz. If you liked that video, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and join us on our daily podcast, Hot Takes with Matt Gaetz, on your favorite podcast listening platform.